On a quiet morning in December 1948, Somerton Beach in Adelaide, South Australia, bore witness to a scene that would baffle investigators for decades. A man, seemingly asleep, was discovered slumped against the seawall. His appearance was unremarkable yet deeply perplexing. He was well dressed, in a suit, but every identifying label had been meticulously removed from his clothing. No wallet, no ID, nothing to indicate who he was or where he came from. The discovery marked the beginning of one of the 20th century's most enduring and haunting unsolved mysteries. A puzzle piece was found, but the rest of the picture remained elusive. The call came in just after 6:30 a.m. on December 1, 1948. Local residents reported seeing the man since the previous evening, believing him to be merely sleeping off a night out. But as the sun climbed higher, concerns grew. When police arrived, it was clear this was no ordinary sleeper. The man was deceased, lying on the sand with his head against the seawall, his legs crossed. There were no immediate signs of struggle or foul play, yet the circumstances were immediately suspicious. This wasn't a natural death, it was an enigma wrapped in an ordinary tableau. The man was described as being of athletic build, approximately 40 to 45 years old, with fair hair, hazel eyes, and slightly broad shoulders. His teeth were in excellent condition, showing no signs of decay, which was unusual for the era. Peculiarly, his shoes were highly polished, a stark contrast to their placement on a sandy beach. Despite the warm weather, he was wearing a knitted pullover and a jacket, suggesting a deliberate choice of attire, or perhaps a preparation for something unknown. His clean-shaven face offered no clues, only another layer of mystery. The most striking aspect of the initial investigation was the complete absence of identification. Every label from his clothing, including those on his suit, tie, and underwear, had been painstakingly cut away. This wasn't accidental, it was a methodical attempt to erase his identity. His pockets yielded only minor items: an unused train ticket from Adelaide to Henley Beach, a bus ticket, a comb, a packet of chewing gum, and a box of Bryant and May matches. Crucially, there was also a half-smoked cigarette placed precisely behind his ear, seemingly untouched since its last use. Among the few possessions found, one detail stood out as particularly odd: a Kensitas brand cigarette, half-smoked, but remarkably, perfectly dry and placed behind his ear. Alongside it was a full, unsmoked cigarette of a different brand, Army Club. The Kensitas was found in an Army Club packet. This seemingly minor inconsistency baffled investigators. Was it a deliberate misdirection? Or a simple, personal habit, now imbued with sinister undertones due to the circumstances? The undisturbed nature of the cigarette further complicated theories of a struggle. An autopsy was performed, revealing no obvious cause of death. His internal organs were congested, indicating blood pooling, and his spleen was notably enlarged. There was no foreign matter in his stomach, suggesting he had not eaten for hours. The pathologist, Dr. Dwyer, concluded that death was likely caused by cardiac failure, potentially induced by an unknown poison that was rapidly absorbed and left no trace. Such a poison would be extremely sophisticated for the time, leading to early speculation of espionage or a professional hit. Despite extensive public appeals, including photographs circulated widely, no one came forward to identify the man. The lack of missing person reports matching his description across Australia or even internationally only deepened the mystery. Who was this man, and why did no one claim him? His anonymity became as much a part of his identity as his physical description. This absence of connection transformed a tragic death into a global enigma, captivating the public and frustrating the police. The Somerton Man was, effectively, a ghost. Months later, in January 1949, a crucial new lead emerged. Police located an unclaimed brown suitcase at the Adelaide railway station's cloakroom. It had been checked in on November 30, the day before the body was discovered. Though initially dismissed due to the timing, it soon became a central piece of the puzzle. The suitcase contained clothing with the same meticulous removal of labels, suggesting a direct link to the deceased. This discovery offered a glimmer of hope, but also introduced fresh layers of obfuscation. Inside the suitcase, investigators found several items of clothing: a dressing gown, slippers, 4 pairs of underpants, pajamas, toiletries, and shaving equipment. Again, all identifying marks had been removed. However, 3 items offered a faint trail: a Barber brand thread, a peculiar triangular pattern sewn into a pair of trousers, and a specific brand of orange thread not available in Australia. These details hinted at a potential foreign origin or a very particular tailoring practice. The threads and the unique stitching became points of intense focus. The Barber brand wax-coated thread was of a type not commonly found in Australia, hinting at European manufacture. The triangular pattern, a small, intricate repair, suggested a highly skilled hand. Furthermore, the distinct orange thread used for repairs was traced to a specific American manufacturer, not imported into Australia at that time. These seemingly minor details suggested the man had either traveled extensively or had his clothing custom-made abroad, adding to his international mystique. A faint, almost illegible inscription of the name Keane was found on a tie, and T. Keane on a laundry bag within the suitcase. This was the first potential name associated with the man. However, a nationwide search for anyone named T. Keane who was missing proved fruitless. No one came forward. Was it a false lead, a misdirection? Or simply a common name that offered no unique identifying features? The name remained a phantom, much like the man himself, offering tantalizing proximity to identity without actual revelation. Perhaps the most baffling discovery came when police meticulously re-examined the Somerton man's trousers. Sewn into a small, hidden fob pocket, they found a tiny, rolled-up piece of paper. This wasn't merely a scrap, it was a precisely torn fragment. On it, 2 words were printed: Tamám Shud. This phrase, meaning finished or ended, would become the cryptic signature of the mystery, suggesting a deliberately placed message, a final, despairing statement, or a key to an unknown code. The phrase Tamám Shud was quickly identified as the last words from the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a collection of 11th-century Persian quatrains, known for its themes of seizing the day and the transience of life. This poetic connection immediately elevated the case from a simple death to something far more literary and deliberate. It suggested the man was educated, possibly cultured, and that his death might have been premeditated, or at least meticulously planned in its aftermath. With the phrase identified, police launched a public appeal to find the specific copy of the Rubaiyat from which the fragment had been torn. Miraculously, a local man came forward. He had found a rare, first-edition copy of Edward Fitzgerald's translation of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam on the back seat of his unlocked car, parked near Somerton Beach, around the same time the body was discovered. The back cover was damaged, and a crucial page was missing, consistent with the torn Tamám Shud fragment. The discovery of the book was a watershed moment. It confirmed the Tamám Shud fragment was indeed from this very specific copy. But the book yielded more than just a matching tear. Scrawled on its back cover, in faint pencil, were 5 lines of what appeared to be code. Below the code, a phone number was also written. These new elements turned the case into a full-blown espionage thriller, hinting at secret messages, clandestine operations, and hidden identities, far removed from a simple beach death. The 5 lines of text found in the Rubaiyat were initially believed to be a code. Handwriting experts examined the inscription, noting its erratic nature, as if written by a hurried or nervous hand. Cryptography experts from naval intelligence were brought in, but despite their efforts, the code remained unbroken. Some believed it to be a complex cipher, others a random set of letters, or even abbreviations. The potential for a hidden message only intensified the intrigue, suggesting a world of spies and secrets. Beneath the enigmatic code, a phone number was clearly visible. It belonged to a nurse named Jessica Ellen Thompson, known to friends as Jestin, who lived in Glenelg, not far from Somerton Beach. This was the first concrete link to a living person. Police visited her home, hoping for a breakthrough. The expectation was that she would identify the man, perhaps as a friend, acquaintance, or even a lover. But her reaction was far from what they anticipated, introducing yet another layer of perplexing behavior. When shown a plaster bust of the Somerton Man, Jessica Thompson reacted with what police described as profound shock, nearly fainting. However, she adamantly denied ever knowing the man or recognizing him. Her refusal to identify him, despite her visible distress, struck investigators as highly suspicious. Was she genuinely unfamiliar with him, or was she deliberately concealing a deeper connection? Her evasiveness fueled theories that she was either protecting herself, or perhaps someone else. The plaster bust, created by a sculptor from the man's likeness, became a key piece of evidence in eliciting responses. Though Thompson denied recognition, others pointed out a potential striking resemblance between the bust and a man she had been seen with. Furthermore, the man's physical characteristics, particularly his strong calves, were mentioned by her. The bust represented not just an image, but a tangible link to a world she claimed not to inhabit, yet seemed deeply familiar with. Despite her shock, Jessica Thompson maintained her denial of knowing the Somerton Man. She was even offered a lie detector test, which she refused, citing medical reasons. This refusal, combined with her earlier reaction, only heightened suspicions among investigators. Her daughter, Kate, later recounted that her mother always seemed to know more than she let on about the case, and that the family was forced to move to a new town to escape the persistent police inquiries and public scrutiny. During her interview, Jessica Thompson mentioned giving a copy of the Rubaiyat to a man named Prosper during World War II. This Prosper was described as an army intelligence officer. The revelation opened a new avenue of speculation. Was the Somerton Man Prosper? Or was Prosper another figure in a larger intelligence network? The wartime connection suggested a spy narrative, placing the man's death in the context of Cold War paranoia and clandestine operations, far from a simple accident. Jessica Thompson's middle name was Jestin, a rare name. Coincidentally, the coded message in the Rubaiyat contained a sequence of letters, MMOABI, which some speculated might represent initials. One theory proposed a connection to the phrase marriages may occur at Barbichin, though this was highly speculative. However, the presence of such a unique name, Jestin, associated with the Rubaiyat, added another layer of personal entanglement to the otherwise anonymous case. The combination of the meticulously removed labels, the untraceable poison, the coded message, and the connection to a possible intelligence officer like Prosper, led many to believe the Somerton Man was a spy. His death could have been an assassination, a botched defection, or even a suicide orchestrated to protect secrets. The Cold War context of 1948 made such a scenario plausible, turning a beach mystery into a geopolitical puzzle, where identities were fluid and lives easily expendable. In 2013, Rachel Egan, Jessica Thompson's daughter, came forward with a surprising claim. She stated that she believed her father was the Somerton Man. She recalled her mother being very secretive about her past and refusing to discuss certain aspects of her life. This emotional testimony provided a potential genetic link, offering a more personal dimension to the mystery, and suggesting that Jessica Thompson's denials might have been an attempt to protect her daughter from a difficult truth. Decades later, Professor Derek Abbott, an electrical engineering and computer science expert at the University of Adelaide, took a profound interest in the case. He began a meticulous re-examination of all existing evidence, applying modern forensic and genealogical techniques. His dedication to the case spanned years, becoming a personal quest to finally give the Somerton Man his name back. Abbott's relentless pursuit of the truth would eventually lead to a pivotal breakthrough. Abbott's research focused on the potential for DNA analysis. Through a hair found on the Somerton Man's plaster bust, believed to belong to him, Abbott began the complex process of extracting DNA. This was a long and arduous task, pushing the boundaries of forensic science. His team aimed to construct a family tree using genetic genealogy databases, hoping to match the Somerton Man's DNA to living relatives, effectively building his identity from the ground up, one genetic link at a time. Recognizing the limits of the hair sample, Professor Abbott, along with South Australian police, petitioned for the exhumation of the Somerton Man's body. After years of advocacy and legal hurdles, permission was finally granted in May 2021. The exhumation was a momentous occasion, signaling a renewed commitment to solving the cold case using the most advanced scientific methods available, offering the strongest chance yet of uncovering the identity hidden beneath decades of sand and mystery. On May 19, 2021, the Somerton Man's grave in the West Terrace Cemetery was opened. Forensic experts carefully exhumed the remains, meticulously collecting bone and hair samples for DNA analysis. The process was delicate, mindful of the historical significance and the need to preserve all possible evidence. The scientific hope was that these samples would yield enough viable DNA to build a comprehensive genetic profile, overcoming the challenges of decomposition in time. The extracted DNA samples proved viable. Using advanced sequencing techniques and forensic genealogy, Professor Abbott's team began comparing the genetic markers to vast public DNA databases. The painstaking process involved tracing family trees backwards and forwards, looking for common ancestors and living relatives. This was the digital age's answer to a decades-old analog mystery, transforming scattered clues into a coherent genetic narrative, promising to finally reveal the man's lineage. In July 2022, after years of relentless work, Professor Abbott announced a major breakthrough. Through genetic genealogy, he had identified the Somerton Man. His name was Carl Webb. This identification was made by linking the Somerton Man's DNA to distant cousins in the United States, and then painstakingly building a family tree that converged on a specific individual. The announcement sent shockwaves through the true crime community and offered a long-awaited answer. Carl Webb was born in Melbourne in 1905. Records indicated a life with connections to electrical engineering and perhaps a background in the military. This provided a tangible history, contrasting sharply with the decades of anonymity. While the identification was a triumph of forensic science, it simultaneously opened new questions about Webb's life, his movements, and how he ended up deceased on Somerton Beach, with his identity so thoroughly erased. Further research into Carl Webb's life revealed a potential, albeit indirect, connection to Jessica Thomson. Records indicated that Webb's brother-in-law was a man named George Webb, and George Webb had an association with Jessica Thomson through a shared interest in intelligence work or related circles. This suggested a more intricate web of relationships than initially understood, linking the two key figures of the mystery, and hinting that Thomson's denials might have been more complex than simple disavowal. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Webb identification was the potential connection to Jessica Thomson's son, Robin. Robin Thomson, born in 1947, exhibited several unique physical traits, including malformed teeth and ears, which were remarkably similar to those of the Somerton Man. Genetic analysis in 2022 confirmed that Carl Webb was indeed Robin Thomson's biological father, effectively confirming the Somerton Man's identity and providing a profoundly personal, tragic layer to the historical cold case. With the identification of Carl Webb and the confirmation of his paternity to Robin Thomson, the Somerton Man finally has a name. The decades-long quest for identity reached its most significant milestone. However, the mystery is far from fully resolved. We now know who he was, but the circumstances of his death, the poison, the removed labels, the Tamám Shud phrase, the coded message, and why he was on Somerton Beach, still largely remain unknown. The who is answered, but the why persists. Carl Webb's life, though now partially reconstructed, still holds many secrets. He was reportedly estranged from his wife and had a history of being a vagrant or drifter. His skills, potentially in electrical engineering or instrument making, could have made him valuable in various fields, including wartime intelligence. This background, combined with his apparent connection to Jessica Thomson, hints at a man living a life that was perhaps more clandestine than outwardly apparent. The Somerton Man mystery, now the Carl Webb case, captivated the world for 74 years. It became a touchstone for true crime enthusiasts, amateur sleuths, and forensic scientists alike. Its unique combination of a perfectly preserved body, cryptic clues, and a tantalizing Cold War espionage angle ensured its place in history. While the identity is a monumental achievement, the case stands as a testament to the power of human curiosity and the relentless pursuit of truth, even against overwhelming odds. Even with Carl Webb identified, many key questions linger. Was his death accidental, a suicide, or murder? If murdered, by whom and why? What was the true purpose of the Tamám Shud note and the coded message? What was his exact relationship with Jessica Thompson, and why did she deny knowing him so vehemently? The answers to these questions are now the focus of continued investigation, as the revelation of identity merely serves as the opening chapter to a deeper narrative. The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, the source of the Tamám Shud fragment, remains a central, symbolic enigma. Its philosophical themes of fate and destiny resonate deeply with the case. Was it a suicide note, a coded message, or simply a literary reference cherished by a man facing his end? The torn page, the code, the phone number all point to a deliberate, thoughtful connection to the book, suggesting a personal significance that we may never fully comprehend. The identification of Carl Webb has breathed new life into the investigation. Law enforcement agencies, now armed with a name, can delve into historical records, witness testimonies, and other archives with far greater precision. The hope is that by tracing Webb's life backwards, and connecting dots previously invisible, more pieces of the puzzle will fall into place, eventually revealing the full story behind the mysterious death on Somerton Beach, finally bringing closure to this enduring enigma. The story of the Somerton Man, or Carl Webb, is ultimately a testament to human persistence. From the initial police investigation in 1948 to the tireless efforts of amateur sleuths, and finally, the groundbreaking work of Professor Derek Abbott and his team, the pursuit of truth never wavered. It showcases how, even in the most perplexing of cold cases, scientific advancement combined with unwavering dedication can pierce through the veil of time, offering answers where once there was only silence. While the identity of Carl Webb brings a sense of closure, the broader human story behind the mystery continues to fascinate. It forces us to ponder the fragility of identity, the secrets people carry, and the often unseen connections that weave through our lives. The Somerton Man, now Carl Webb, represents not just a solved case, but a profound narrative about human connection, loss, and the enduring human desire to understand the unexplained. The Somerton Man case has transcended its origins as a local Australian mystery to become a global phenomenon. Documentaries, books, podcasts, and countless online discussions have kept its flame alive for generations. The announcement of Carl Webb's identity was met with international interest, a testament to the universal appeal of a well-crafted mystery. As the world continues to watch, investigators hope to uncover the complete narrative, providing all the answers the public has yearned for. The Somerton Man, now definitively identified as Carl Webb, stands as a symbol of forensic triumph and persistent enigma. His story reminds us that some mysteries, even when seemingly resolved, contain layers that may never be fully peeled back. While a name has been given to the man on Somerton Beach, the precise tapestry of his final days, the intricate motives, and the full extent of his connections to others, may forever remain cloaked in the shadows of history.